It might even be the famous Yutaka Araki himself. Her hand closed over her phone, nestled next to the little rabbit in the deep pocket of her mohair coat. No, she wasn't going to get her phone out and check her messages. There was bound to be another text from her mother, with an update on her blood pressure this morning. It regularly rose whenever Fiona did something her mother didn't quite approve of. Focusing on the airy space surrounding her and gazing around the crowded arrivals hall, she tried to analyse what made it so different. Thankfully, some of the signs were in English, as well as the fascinating but baffling Japanese calligraphy. Not being able to read basic information had been one of her biggest worries, along with the fact that she had never mastered using chopsticks, and had never even tried sushi before, because she really didn't fancy raw fish. What on earth was she going to eat? She swallowed hard. What if no one turned up? What would she do? A rising tide of despair began to take hold, and she sighed and shifted to her other foot, gazing hopefully at the approaching newcomers. Everything felt alien and uncomfortable, although she could make out the Coca-Cola logo in the outsized vending machine opposite. The contents of all the other brightly coloured cans were utterly incomprehensible. Her eyes lit on someone half running, half walking down the concourse towards her, his coat flapping. As he came closer, she narrowed her gaze. It couldn't be. She was imagining things. Oh, flipping heck, with multiple bells on it. It was. She almost did that comedic, exaggerated eye-rubbing, but there was nothing wrong with her eyesight. Realising it was definitely him, she tucked down into her coat like a turtle. Gabriel Burnett, Times Photographer of the Year, Portrait of Britain winner, Werdham Smith winner, and recipient of a gazillion other awards for his amazing photographs. The man had talent in spades, not to mention charm, looks, and charisma by the bucket load, and had once been quite the media darling. What was he doing here? No, he couldn't be here for her. It had to be a complete coincidence. But things were adding up in her head. She'd won a photography competition. He was a photographer. She was supposed to be met. He was in the arrivals hall. He could not be meeting her. Despite expressly forbidding herself to feel anything at all, her heart stopped dead for at least 10 seconds before erupting into action like a train bursting out of a tunnel at 1,000 beats a minute. Gabe Burnett, heading straight towards her. Pushing his hand through dark hair that flopped forwards onto his forehead with those quick, jerky movements she suddenly remembered so well. If she could have turned and fled, she might well have done, except her feet seemed to have turned into great lumps of clay that she didn't know what to do with. He drew alongside the barrier and pulled out a sheet of white paper with a series of bold slashes. Fiona H. Her name was written as if he'd been in too much of a rush to get the surname down, but was at least concerned enough that there might be another Fiona, for he'd added the H. Would he recognise the name? It had been 10 years. Would he recognise her? Highly unlikely. He must have tutored hundreds of students since then. In those days, she'd been much more flamboyant and confident, with a predilection towards Bananarama dungarees, cropped T-shaped jumpers in primary colours, and paisley scarves with which she bundled up her hair. Fiona could pinpoint the exact moment that her confidence had shriveled like an aged walnut. It had a lot to do with the man now standing 10 feet in front of her, holding up the scruffy bit of paper with her name on it, glancing nonchalantly around the crowded terminal with the style and ease of someone who felt at home anywhere. "That's me," she said, putting up her hand like a schoolgirl and nodding towards the piece of paper. Fiona Hanning." "Great. Been waiting long?" He stuffed the makeshift sign into his pocket and, to her surprise, dropped his head and upper body in a quick, fluid bow. She stared at him, putting away the